from the worst team in Cleveland to the best team in Cleveland. Um, Andy, I've been saying since they started 15-0 in November. And I know there are people out there saying, "Oh, is this going to translate to the playoffs?" Yes, it will. Um, I am stamping my foot down. The Cleveland Cavaliers are going to win the 2024-2025 NBA Finals. They are the best team in basketball. They have been the best team in basketball. They are the best coach team in basketball. They are the most deep team in basketball. They are one of the most unique teams in basketball that present you challenges with two big men, one of them that can especially stretch the floor. They have two dynamic guards. They have depth and they just quite frankly outshoot you. And it doesn't matter if they're down 15 points in the third quarter, they're five threes away and 2 minutes away, a very Golden State esque run to just obliterate you. And this is not a fluke. And I think fans around the league and local fans think it is because these fans have not witnessed a good Cavs team this generation, at least outside of LeBron. All they know is LeBron or a crap team. And so they're not used to this.
This Cavs team has proven to us at this point in the season. I think this team is better than any team under LeBron,
Yes,
far and away.
I
I think
I
I
agree.
think this team is the fastest team in the NBA, maybe OKC. Those us and OKC are the two fastest teams. I think this team is the grittiest team. I think they have the most heart out of any team in the NBA. Like you said, how many times have the Cavs been down 12 points in the third quarter and within 2 minutes, a Cavalanche happens and they're
Yep,
up one?
yep.
It happens every week. They're on a 16-game winning streak and right now beating the Magic 38-25 at the end of the first quarter. Darius Garland has 10 points, 5 for 5 shooting, nothing from three. You have, I mean, this team is just so well constructed. I know people were pissed when they decided to sign Jarrett Allen, even though we had Evan Mobley. And then I remember last year, you and I were talking about it. It's those two big guys are the best big guy tandem in the league.
Yes.
But but the problem was if one of them was unavailable, see the playoffs last year, Jarrett Allen, it completely ruins what we have built on the court. So what do the Cavs do? They go out and they find a guy who's 6'7", who can shoot a three ball, who can play defense, who can fill in for Evan Mobley or Jarrett Allen when needed in DeAndre Hunter. And DeAndre Hunter is 13-0 as a Cavalier,
Yeah.
have not lost a game with him on our roster. Ty Jerome is the best six man in the league. I don't want to hear anything about Derek White or anybody
You
else or
can make a
Peyton
case
Pritchard.
DeAndre Hunter because he's starting and coming off the bench. You can make a case we have the two six men of the year.
I want you to know also right now at the end of the first, Ty Jerome has 7 points off the bench in
And,
7 minutes.
and to Ty Jerome, the best thing about him is it's like if Darius Garland or Donovan Mitchell miss a game, it's when he has his best games.
Yes, you can fill him in
Yes.
so easily. Isaac Okoro is still playing fantastic defense. We
Oh
have
God,
Dwayne
that
Wade,
that's the only problem with this team. Whenever I hear that name, I think I have
but
PTSD.
but Brandon, we don't have to rely on Okoro to do anything anymore.
Yeah, but it scares
He's
me
a
when he's
piece.
out there on the court because he has the potential to shoot, and I don't want him touching the ball on offense.
I'm fine with it. I think this team is so perfectly constructed. OKC is way too reliant on Shea.
Yes, I
He
agree with
is.
him.
I still think Shea is the MVP this year. I think he's the best player in the NBA, probably pound for pound right now. Maybe Luka, Jokic are the
Oh,
top
I
three.
think Jokic is still the best in terms of MVP, though. I think this year will go to Shea. I think it's part of voter fatigue. Not saying that Shea hasn't had a good year.
Yes, um, but if anything happens to Shea, let's first of all let's get the Knicks out of the way. They're done. They're
Oh yeah,
playing
I
43 minutes a night.
I think like I've been telling people, Andy, so I got in a big argument with a buddy of mine last week because he was trying to tell me, oh, the Magic could give us a scare. Miami's always a tough team. I'm like, bro, the Cavs are playing the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yes.
we really don't like. I will watch the first or second round games, but it's like I know what's gonna happen, right? The Cavs are gonna be up 2-1 or 3-0. We're gonna lose some game in the first or second round, and people are gonna say, "See, it's the regular season," or what? Like, dude, like what you are watching is real.
Yes. This team, I mean, I think people think the Cavs this year are what the Guardians were last year.
But
A lot of
why?
luck,
Here's my question: is why when you are beating the living hell out of people, like
everybody.
when
You're beating the living hell out of
we
everybody.
have a chance to sweep, and if I'm sorry I get this stat wrong, it's my bad. I think it's 22 out of 30 teams in the league. We have a
Yes.
chance to sweep.
Yes. It's ridiculous. I mean, the team is so incredibly deep. I think the only other team that's as deep as the Cavs is the Celtics because they have a lot of really good players off the bench.
Yeah, they
I
do.
think I think Donovan Mitchell is a better fit on an NBA team than Jason Tatum because Donovan Mitchell is 100% the kind of guy to pass off a ball in the right situation and
And
doesn't
he
have to put too much
and,
pressure on himself.
and he's more clutch than Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum is probably a very talented, boring, good player. He's like the
Yes.
rare player that is very good, but you're never scared of him. Like, do you ever go into a game thinking, "Oh my God, we have to face Jason Tatum"? No,
No.
when I face Boston, I'm thinking, "Oh my God, is Jaylen Brown gonna have the ball in his hands last?" Or, "Oh my God, is Derek White or Peyton Pritchard gonna go for 30 points tonight off the bench?"
Right. That's the biggest worry for me. I mean, I just don't want the Cavs to get into a series against the Celtics and bow down because of what happened last year and what's happened
I
the
don't
last
think
couple of years.
they'll bow down. I think that this team is incredibly well coached. Um,
Yes.
now
Let's talk while after you
go
really
ahead,
quickly.
go ahead.
The pleasure I get from seeing Kenny Atkinson sitting on the bench in a tight game with his arms crossed and not pacing up and down the floor. I mean,
You mean you're not screaming at the refs
yes.
and throwing away boxes and complaining that the NBA's rigged and you
Yes,
know.
Kenny sits on the bench with his arms crossed and lets his players play. He doesn't try and overmanage. And I have a good buddy who's a Pistons fan, and of course he's thrilled about the state of the Pistons right now. And I said, "Hey
I
man,
would
I want
love
you
to
to
play
know."
them in the first round, but I know we can. It's impossible.
I was like, "Hey man, I know you're happy about the Pistons. I'm just telling you right now, JB, John Blair is a transition coach. You'll find your coach after John Blair gets your team into a good spot," which is exactly what the Cavs did. It's going to happen.
And by the way, for the record, I've had some conversations with people about this. I'm not afraid of Milwaukee either. And
No, not even close.
it wouldn't by the way, I would kind of like it if the Knicks could slide or another Brunson's injured. Maybe Milwaukee gets into that third spot and you get Milwaukee Boston the second round, which I think
Hmm.
would help us because I think Giannis could physically beat up Boston.
Yes. Um, is Porzingis back? Is he playing
As
again?
far as I know, I believe he just came back, but I could be wrong on that.
It Whatever. Who cares, right? I mean, dude, did you see the other night Evan Mobley back to back to back threes?
Yes, sir.
Lethal. He's in his KD bag. He's lethal. I mean,
And
if
I
Mobley can become like a 35 or
so yeah,
40.
he did play last night. He played Porzingis, by the way.
Okay. Okay. Um, but yeah, I mean, dude, going into these playoffs, it just I'm not worried until we reach the Eastern Conference Finals.
No, I
I
agree.
think I think the best matchup for a finals would I know everybody wants to see OKC Cleveland. I think Cleveland LA would
Yes,
put up
I've been
numbers.
saying it. And by the way, for the record, I think it'd be one of the best storylines in the history of the NBA.
I
Not
agree.
not only let me put this out there. It's not only LeBron versus Cleveland, Cavs, Lakers, but it's the Luka factor of him getting dealt from Dallas.
Yes. I think that would make for like a record number of
Yes.
views for the finals. I
And,
think the
and
NBA
and the
wants it.
NBA needs it because they've been getting beat up all year. Because the NBA regular season right now is a disaster.
Yeah, it's a complete joke. And which is I was reading through your schedule for what we were going to talk about, and you
Yeah,
mentioned about the state of the NBA, and I
yeah.
was like thinking to myself, I'm like, it's so interesting because there's not another league in America that has as much pop culture reference as the NBA does.
No, that's
Like
true.
not only are the players athletes, but a lot of them are influencers when it comes to pop culture, right? You have various artists sitting courtside for every game. You have the biggest names in the country coming to the big matchups in Boston and LA, and they're sitting courtside at MSG. You don't see that in the NFL, right? They're up in a box, they're tucked away, they're not being advertised. So it's weird because NBA seems to be the sport that has the most influence on pop culture, but the numbers are just terrible.
And they're not, it's very weird because the NBA used to be the opposite of baseball. They used to be very good at marketing their stars. And it's
Yes.
like they're very over reliant now on Steph, LeBron, even Kevin Durant, who in my opinion is irrelevant right now out in Phoenix. And it's
Yeah.
like they're not even embracing like a Jokic, Anthony Edwards, even SGA to a certain extent. Like we tried with Anthony Edwards last year. It sort of felt like it was a year early. But I don't know what it is about the NBA refusing essentially to wrap its arms around the new generation. I don't know if it's international or what it is.
I think the NBA gets a lot of viewership internationally. Um, I know for a fact a lot of Germans and a lot of Europeans and love watching the NBA. There's a huge market for the NBA in China, and just like the MLB has a huge market in Japan.
Yeah.
But it's just I don't know. You talk to people about the NBA that don't regularly watch, and the comment is always, "I can't stand it. I can't stand it." And maybe it's because it's the one game that has changed so much since its heyday, because it is a completely different game now than it was
Oh,
when Jordan was playing.
it's a completely different game than it was 10 years ago. Andy,
Yeah,
I looked this up the other day. You might be shocked. Do you know that during the 2015-16 season, when the Warriors, it was Curry's second MVP season, they were revolutionizing the league with the three-point shot, they shot 31 threes a game. That number at 31 is now the lowest number of attempted threes in the NBA, and it belongs to Denver.
really.
Boston is on pace right now to break the all-time regular season record. They're averaging 49 threes a game.
That's unreal.
They shot 63 the other night against Oklahoma City. I mean, it's literally one pass, one dribble, and let it fly.
Yeah, and that's way less entertaining than watching people get physical in the paint. That's for sure.
But
I mean,
and the hard part is too, like everybody's doing it, and even teams like Orlando that don't have great shooters are doing it. And the
right.
difference is teams like Cavs and Boston and Oklahoma City, they have the great shooters that make you pay. But I don't know how we like everybody plays the same style, and I don't know how you sort of go away from that now.
I don't know. I mean, it's like a, I don't know. It's like it feels almost like shooting a three is a cop out. It's
Well,
like
it's threes and layups. I was telling my buddy the other day, the Lakers a couple weeks ago, before LeBron got hurt, they played a game against Memphis. They shot three mid-range jump shots the entire game.
that's unreal.
Their whole shot chart was a three or an inside layup.
Yeah. I mean, you lost the day of, remember LeBron's signature was post somebody up in the paint, take a step, turn around, bang a mid-range jumper. It was the same thing Kobe did. Jordan did,
It's
the stop and
gone.
shoot. It's gone completely. KD was one of the best mid-range shooters,
Yeah.
in the NBA, and even now you're
Kawhi
seeing.
Leonard was on stop. I've never seen. I don't know if Kawhi Leonard ever missed a mid-range jump shot.
So I guess the question is, Brandon, all the old heads always give LeBron flack. LeBron ruined the NBA. He created super teams. He's a foul merchant. He flops. But the question I think we should be asking is, did Steph Curry ruin the NBA?
Yeah, no, it's a legitimate point, and the thing is, they were both. I mean, LeBron was still in his prime when he was doing it. Obviously, Steph in his prime when he was doing it. I do think Steph, for whatever reason, inspired more kids than LeBron. Like Steph, maybe it was his mouthpiece hanging out, whatever it was. Like he made shooting threes look cool.
Oh, because it would be the shoot a three, turn around, look at your bench, hold up three fingers as the ball's going through the hoop.
Yeah,
It was cool. Let's be real. It was really cool. But I think because he's so good at it, he was so glorified, especially during the 14, 15, 16, 17 time range.
yeah,
And he was always on TV because he was always playing LeBron, right? And
yeah. No, good point.
everybody saw Steph Curry. Everybody was watching Steph Curry. He was breaking records. He was making these crazy threes, catch and shoot. It looked like the ball never even touched his hands before it went in the hoop. And I mean, it is mesmerizing when a guy like him does it. And then you go and you watch, team like you said, Orlando or Boston go and bang 63s a game and only 40% of them go in. It's like you watch what 35 missed three pointers and then the game's over.
Yeah. And
So
Houston tried to do it against Golden State and just couldn't replicate it. Um,
nope.
let me ask you this real quick. All-Star Weekend, how do we fix it? I I want to just get rid of it, but I know they're
We
not
talked
going to
about
because of the
this.
money.
We talked about this last weekend or last time we were on. Dude, I don't even know. I have no idea. I think you have to follow what hockey just did.
See, and again, like I've been saying this, and you may disagree with me, and I don't want to get too political on this at all, but I think like NHL, right? Hockey is a Canadian sport. I think that there is sort of everything going on with US and Canada right now. Like it was just a sense of pride thing where we know with the NBA players and what went on with politics and the bubble and everything that happened in that situation. Like I just don't feel like the NBA players would fight as much as a US versus whatever for an All-Star game as the NHL did. I don't think it would work as good in the
What
NBA.
about that tournament last year? What was that tournament? The NBA won. Steph Curry had that unreal second half. And
Well, that was the actual Olympics.
was that
Um,
the Olympics or was
yeah.
it? Yeah, it was. It
No,
was. But
that was the
remember,
actual
dude,
Olympics, which I think is different as opposed to an All-Star game tournament.
I
Um,
don't know, dude. I think you have to try it. I mean, I think the MLB could also do something too. The MLB is the most. I'd say it's probably the most diverse sport in the world. You have, I mean, other than we're excluding soccer from all of this, obviously,
I
but
think NBA is probably more diverse now than baseball, but it's probably
I don't know.
close.
With all the Japan players coming over, all the South American, Central American players, dude, you have a ton of diversity in the MLB. In that
Yeah,
World
no,
Baseball
you're right.
Classic, watching Otani throw against Mike Trout, I mean, that was some of the most electric baseball I've ever seen. It was so fun to watch. And I think all of the leagues, other than the NFL, obviously, because there's not a lot of international players, but baseball, I think basketball could both take a page out of the NHL's book and do something like that. Why not?
Yeah, the other thing that I have proposed, Andy, is sort of moving off All-Star Weekend though in general is like I tell me how you feel about this. I think that playoff series need to be shorter. Like I don't know if we need seven first round, second round games. I understand conference finals, NBA finals. I think they could take a page out of Major League Baseball's book because NBA history tells you if you're not a top three seed, you're not going to win the championship. Why not give some of these lower seeds at least an urgency feel of like we could steal one game and we're in the series?
I think best of five should be the format until the conference finals,
Okay.
100%. That's what
I
baseball does, and it makes it so much better.
I even propose, and a lot of people have been against this, but I'm just throwing it out there. The first round is a best of three, with all three games of the higher seed scored.
I think all three games at the higher seeds court,
Yeah,
3 days in a row,
yeah.
or do you have a day in between? You do
Or
maybe do one and
or
two back to back, and
or you
and
do
then
a
a
day
day
in
off.
between. Because my whole thing is, I think the NBA should be done by Memorial Day weekend. I
Dude, the
think
NBA playoffs take so
yes,
long.
they do. Memorial. Think about it. The Eastern Conference Finals or Western Conference Finals is on Memorial Day, Game 7 anyway. Why not make that your NBA Finals Game 7 and give your players a month off?
Yeah, you could do something like that.
Because think about it, in a one big year, we get the NBA players get no break.
No,
And then, like, as soon as the finals are over, Andy, we go straight from the finals to the draft to free agency. We don't even have time to review the season.
yeah, you're right because the season ends in June, and then the
And
season
the
starts.
draft is the next Thursday. Like,
That's crazy.
if the finals ends, if game seven of the finals is on Sunday, the draft is 5 days after the finals ends.
Yeah, but the NBA draft is so lame anyway.
Well,
What is it, 2 rounds?
that's a college basketball issue because Adam Silver has refused to embrace college basketball and would prefer to have overseas players and G League players.
Yeah, yeah, that is a problem.
All
Oh
right,
man, Darius Garland just passed the ball out to a Coro and he bricked it off the back of the hoop.
I told you don't let a Coro shoot a basket.
Here he goes. Oh nope, ball to Garland, air ball.
Like that clip from the Friends World podcast? If so, make sure you go down there and hit that subscribe button. While you're down there hitting the subscribe button, make sure to also hit the notification bell so you never miss another upload. And make sure you check out all the other clips from the Friends World podcast right here on YouTube.